I want to brag on our guy here for a minute. He's probably not going to like this, but he had 9 wins there, 4 consecutive, 20 top 5s, 31 top 10s, and over 1,700 laps led. Those were your numbers at Phoenix.
Was a good place.
and you and I should just leave.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need us to talk about
on your own.
Phoenix.
That is amazing, though. And it's actually very rare that a driver has that kind of success at one place over all those years. I mean, I think of Jimmy Johnson at like Dover or something, but that's incredible.
Well, thank you. It was definitely a place where we enjoyed a lot of success. And for me, I grew up as a kid in Bakersfield, California, and Phoenix was the place you wanted to go if you were racing the Truck Series or the West Series, Southwest Tour cars. That was kind of our Daytona 500 as we would go through the season. You wanted to go over there and perform well while the Cup guys were at the racetrack because the Southwest Tour race was there. At that point, the Winston West cars were getting a provisional in the Cup race.
Oh, were they really?
Yeah, so they got 2 provisionals right before I started racing the West Series. They actually got 2 provisionals in the Cup race to run during the Cup weekend. So that kind of gave it a little more flair, I guess you could say, to be able to go to Phoenix and kind of showcase what you could do if you could just somehow figure out how to keep yourself in contention and get seen during the Cup race at one point or another. That was a feather in the cap. But as a kid, I spent a lot of time over there, raced my Southwest Tour cars and trucks, and was able to gain a lot of laps in the beginning. Well, not in the very beginning. In the very beginning, I crashed a couple times, but we were able to gain a lot of experience. And I always felt a sense of pride when I would go to Phoenix, just because that you wanted to do a little bit better there than you did everywhere else. But I had a ton of laps before I ever ran in the Cup Series, whether we got our first win at KHI there in the Truck Series in 2002. So that was pretty cool. We won our first Cup race with Stuart Haas racing there. I think it was the second or third race that we were actually on the racetrack together. We went over there and won. So that was, it's always been a great place for us. We were fortunate to have a lot of success. And for me, very fortunate because it was in front of my longtime fans that had watched me race there since the mid-90s. And to be able to perform well there and have success at that particular racetrack was always something that was pretty cool.
Wow, that's amazing. Does it what wins stand out to you? Is there specific
definitely the Stuart Haas win, getting to victory lane with them so early in the season and just checking that box and being able to say, okay, yeah, we're for real. Because at that point there were still a lot of questions. Stuart Haas had a couple of kind of offbeat years compared to what they had done when they started with Tony there. And to be able to say, okay, that wasn't a bad move. That's actually going to work out okay for them because, they've come and won. I think, I guess it would have been 2006, whatever the race was with Jimmy Johnson to be able to hold Jimmy off and with a late race restart there. That one was fun. And then the beating and banging with Carl Edwards coming to the start finish line and winning by, a couple inches was pretty neat. So, Carl had a couple of new tires on and for us, we had stayed out on the racetrack and we're kind of vulnerable at this particular point, but it goes to show you how fast our race cars were. But we're going to come into turn 3 here and Carl's just going to send it on the apron. And I knew right there, I'm like, oh, he got into me. I need to hit him in the door to slow down the momentum or he's going to go right by. I slowed him down just enough. And then he realized I need to slow him down. And we had some pretty serious contact there, but a great finish for the fans. And at that point, had a pretty good streak of wins and things happening at Phoenix. So special place. My grandpa used to go to Phoenix and he had a motorhome and he would take it over a month early. Wow. Because at Phoenix, before they put the tunnel in, you had to go over the back straightaway to cross over into the infield. So I would drive my Southwest Tour trailer and stuff over there, but he would always go over there a month early and park the motorhome because of all the Cup fans that would come in. So he'd go park the motorhome and it was right at the end of the chain link fence. And every year when I would get there, this motorhome was parked there. He'd be standing at the fence smoking a cigarette. And he would yell at me until I would come over to that fence and talk to him because they'd always stage you in line back there and put you in line to pull the trailers in. And when everybody was there, then they'd pull you in one at a time. And if I drove by that campsite, my grandpa would yell and scream until I came over there and talked to him. So
classic.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Looking at that video That's the old configuration. But the start finish line was down what is now the backstretch.
Right.
I always get this very confused.
Yeah, I did too.
And when I raced there in the fall, I raced the ARCA race in the fall, and I was calling the turn 1, turn 3. I was very not helping my guys with that, like very messed up. Can you tell a little bit about the difference between the configurations? It's because the old one used to have grass down the dog leg, and now we can run through there, and it's elevated and all those type of things.
Really, it's all different. They actually put banking in what is now the front straightaway. Yeah. And they put that dog leg, the dog leg's in the same spot. It's just way more banked. Yeah. So that their whole theory was, how are we going to design this racetrack so we can make it have a stadium feel and everybody can see more of the action? So they took all the motorhomes out of the infield. It used to be covered with motorhomes. You had a tough time seeing from turns 1 and 2 down to 3 and 4 because of the tops of the motorhomes. So they put the motorhomes around the outside of the racetrack more than what they were and built more grandstands in 3 and 4 at the start-finish line and like they are currently. So the front stretch is more banking. Turns 1 and 2 is kind of the same, and 3 and 4 became a little bit more banked as you drive into the middle and the exit of the corner. So still that flat track feel. I mean, still got to get through the middle of 1 and 2. And be able to get the car rotated in 3 and 4, but you got a lot of banking to drive into off of 4. So we were fortunate to have success on both styles of racetracks. But I think the fan experience is a lot better when you look at pre-race and victory lane and all those things right in the infield right there, so the fans can see what's happening right below them. Kind of gets everybody involved in a different way than most tracks.